Hey, what's up, Gemini? Welcome to this timeless general tarot reading. Per usual, all typical disclaimers are assumed. All non-typical disclaimers are asserted. I am not responsible for your misuse of the messages in these cards. You need to take what resonates for you and leave the rest. Make sure to check the description below for timestamps. That will allow you to fast forward to the points where the cards actually drop. And in particular, fast forward to the conclusion, which gets to the heart of the message in the title and gets over a lot of the speculation in some of the earlier cards, which are often not clarified yet to their completion. So, until that point, I am going to be shuffling here until something drops out for you. Ace of Pentacles kind of wanting to reveal itself. A lot of pentacles on the bottom of the deck, which is interesting because you are a water sign, yet there was a little bit of earth there. Earth and water can help each other out, though. Alright, let's see, Great Goddess, what kind of energy does this Gemini need to hear? I think there might have been a Gemini reading last week where it was off to a slow start, but then it wound up having a ton of cards by the end of it. Oops. Alright, so there's something you are failing to move on from. You're unsuccessfully managing to move on, to push forward. So either moving on, you're having trouble moving on, you're having trouble pushing forward, you're having trouble continuing the journey. This can often be due to anxiety, which is something Geminis are kind of dealing with, I think, in their internal duality. It's easy for them to fall into that difficulty making decisions in that regard. So it's kind of interesting. It's disappointing. I'm curious what kind of clarifiers there are, though. So let me see here. What kind of clarifiers do we have for my dear Gemini fellows here? Taking a look at this video. Six of Swords alone in the reverse. Very simple. You're failing to it could be due to things outside of you, external factors, interfering with your ability to move on, to take this path. It could also be, well, also, it is the wind energy, air energy. But Gemini, wait, hold on. So Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces are water. So Gemini is an air sign. So air sign Gemini. Here we have one card kind of thinking about coming out here. Trying to find a very clear sign for you, though, to clarify this. So this is very bizarre. Actually, not sure how I should read these. Fire and air work together, but you're still looking at... No, it came out like this. Five of Swords, Six of Swords. So this is interesting, to a certain extent. And I'm actually not sure how I should... So, Queen of Wands. Kind of interesting because this is a water sign, or you're a water sign, or an air sign. But the Queen of Wands typically stipulates a fire sign woman of some kind. Okay, so I'm really confused about where this is going. The Queen of Wands is a tough sell here. The 5 and 6 of Swords reversed makes sense because you're failing to move on because you're not seeing the proper path forward. So real quickly, I'm going to flip these around like this. And I'm going to stipulate here that essentially what is going on is there is potential for you to lose a strong feminine individual thing. Okay, so water diminishes fire. Knight of Cups. It's weird. This reading is weird. And I'm even getting cards that fall out, so it's like very weird, but I'm very, very confused about. Jeez. This is very interesting. Earth and water do well together. Fire and wind do well together, but the water and fire do not do well together. The Page of Pentacles representing a youth. It can represent a young child, younger child, an adolescent. Knight of Cups represents typically a man, a male. Excuse me. So there's like a queen, older woman, typically a man as a knight, and Page of Pentacles is a child. So it's kind of pointing to like a mom, an older son, and a younger kid. So maybe a boy or a girl, younger child. But I'm still just not sure about this. This is very interesting. I am dumbfounded at what this is trying to suggest here. Sometimes that means it's going to take a minute to get it to sort out. So I really apologize that I don't have much to say at this point. I am clear on part of this message, and I am not clear on other parts of this message. You have these negative sword energies at the beginning, but then you have these positive court cards on the end of this. So I'm looking for more clarity before I try to speculate anything here. Like, one thing that's interesting is I have 3 court cards emerging, and both of the sword cards have depictions of 3 people on them. The 6 of Swords regards, in reverse, regards having trouble moving forward. It's sort of a sign of complacency, maybe. It's a sign of not taking the next steps. And part of that seems to be the fact that you're on the wrong path, because the 5 of Swords reversed implies that the outlook is muddled. There's a lack of outlook that is not being adhered properly. And due to that, other people aren't interested in following that person down the wrong path. In which case, that means that there is a lot of resistance, very likely, in the way, which would yield to the Six of Swords energy, which is having trouble moving in that direction. So Five of Swords, Six of Swords, both reversed. It's a severe sign of lack of judgment, so to speak, deterring forward progress. And not just that, but other people seeing a better path and leaving them behind in the process. Having them be left behind in the process. So hoping for some more clarity here, because that makes some sense. And it makes some sense because you're the air energy. But what's interesting is that you have all of the other energies in the court cards, which almost suggests that you aren't any of them. That still trying to get something out here. Let me speculate. If I move these around, for instance, okay, so it's just, this is very tough. This is definitely tough, because typically fire is bolstered by air. I have to be completely honest with you, Gemini. I am kind of lost on this. And the cards are clear. All these cards dropped out for you. Like, what I'm missing here is there's all the symbolism of other people, but all of the signs are not yours. So it's stipulating the certain types of people I suggested. But it's also signifying that none of them are necessarily in a toxic energy. Yet, despite that fact, there is some kind of disagreement amongst them. And that disagreement on forward progress is the implication is that there's a rift, some kind of rift between them. It's not implying that it's for toxic reasons either. It just seems to be a simple matter of outlook. It's not as if like there's toxicity that's driving them away, which is very often what's clarifying this Five of Swords reverse. It is just strange though, because if this Queen of Wands is retaining her optimism and she's in her positive energy, the idea that she is leading people astray and finding this confliction is hard to believe. Because she should in fact be managing to pull people together and lead them forward. So I'm not sure what role you play in this. The only thing that's your energy here is the sword cards, which almost leads me to wonder if you are on the outside looking in on these three. This older woman, not like a severely older woman, but a mature woman. Here's something else, something on the bottom. Man, I'm just not sure about this reading. I am not sure. This thing is very tricky. It's not clear at all here what's going on. The Queen of Wands and the Knight of Cups are diminishing each other to some degree. They are not managing to bolster each other as greatly as might be expected. Water and fire energies would diminish each other, which would lead me to believe that the Queen of Wands and the Knight of Cups are not getting along for some reason. So it's like a which would sort of support how there could be this confliction and the stagnation of whatever this process is. So the Queen of Wands and the Knight of Cups could possibly be having some disagreements about a Page of Pentacles, which is typically a kid. So it's almost half suggesting that a typically upright Queen of Wands and Knight of Cups might be having issues over this Page of Pentacles, and that is leading to this not being able to see eye to eye, which is also forcing this lack of ability to move on from this. Excuse me. And what I'm kind of anticipating here is that I mean, the cliche thing that's coming to my mind is that it's two parents arguing over how to deal with a kid, basically. So a kid is involved in the mix, and they don't agree. They're not agreeing on how to handle this child. So therefore, they're rifting on what to do, and due to that, they're not managing to move on to find a solution. They're not seeing the path forward clearly. So I don't know what the deal is. This kid is like, whoever this child is really throwing off the judgment of this queen and this knight, who in their upright energies tend to work out properly. So it's not exactly like they're coming at it from a negative energy, even though to a certain extent the queen and the knight don't exactly empower each other properly. They are empowered within themselves and in other situations, but like when it comes to each other, they're not managing to empower properly. So it's like this Five of Swords reversed, that rift could be building up from between them. So that is what that could suggest. And if they're diminishing each other, there's a good shot that they are in need of moving on from that, but they aren't for some reason. And I'm not managing to get any other clarifiers here. That is essentially the best I can suggest. So I don't know what this is all about. Oops, this really wants to come out here on the bottom. Oh boy, what do we got now? Page of Swords. That was on the bottom of the deck. Reverse page of, now we have a reverse Page of Swords showing up here. So that's this is a, oh, and that's you finally, I guess. You are the Gemini air energy. Oops, sorry, I kicked my camera. So what the heck is going on here? The Page of Swords is once again, it represents a child, a youth, adolescent. But this one has managed to find themselves in the reverse energy. They are not in the optimistic energy. air and earth are also diminishing energies. So we're looking at like an older woman and a shoot. You said temperance fallout in reverse. Which is partly clarifying your page of, which is, So the only card here that represents you is this Page of Swords reversed, but that would also indicate that you're like a kid. So I'm not sure how old you are. It's implying that you are quite young, perhaps. Like preteen level. Teen, like preteen to teen is essentially what it is suggesting. And due to that, you very likely have not developed your own personal capacity. Okay, my camera's on. You have not. It is suggesting here that you have not, in fact, empowered your personal capacity to temper yourself properly. And what that means is that you are not throwing out the bad and embracing the good in you yet. You are like just. You're not overcoming your bad qualities. You are thriving in them to a certain extent. You are not growing. You haven't like figured out how to grow as an individual yet, and because of that, you are kind of stuck in behavior that isn't always pleasant, as the Page of Swords reversed, which very often has to do with kind of being like a petty gossiper, like a kind of a shit stirrer with a verbal form, which is the most common way to describe that is by your petty gossiping. You're gossiping in negative fashion, and not only are you gossiping in negative fashion, but the Page of Swords reversed and the Page of Pentacles are like they diminish each other because air and wind are they don't complement each other, they diminish each other. So the Page of Swords reversed gets under the Page of Pentacles skin. The Page of Pentacles gets under the Page of Swords skin as well, but it can also symbolize that the Page of Pentacles does know how to temper themselves properly. They know how to embrace their own internal quality better. Shoot, for whatever reason, dang, we had another card flip out here for you. Dang. Another wind energy here. So there is a decent amount of air coming out of this reading. You've got 4 of the 8 cards are finally wound up being wind energy. So this is definitely suggesting that to a certain extent you are this Page of Swords, which signifies a youth, like I said, a young person. And it is not gender specific. Knights are gender specific, queens and kings are gender specific. The page can be a male or a female. It does not have to be one or the other. Just the stipulation is that it's a young person. So the Page of Pentacles and the Knight of Cups empower each other better. They're better at empowering each other because that's the water and the earth work together to strengthen their qualities. And it's the same thing here. The Queen and the Knight diminish each other. So like the Queen and the Knight aren't getting along properly. The Page of Swords and the Page of Pentacles aren't getting along properly. But the Page of Pentacles and the Knight of Cups are getting along properly. And that's... a lot of drama to a certain extent. But it's also kind of validating the Five of Swords reversed, which is that there's okay, so the problem though is that you're matching, the Page of Swords would be matching the sword energies, which would lead me to, excuse me, I'm getting close to going to sleep. I decided to push forth one more reading here. So yeah, this is a hard reading. I don't usually have readings that are this difficult. I don't know what the dynamic is here of these people. Off the top of my head, though, it would appear that you are the Page of Swords, and you are... Okay, so I'm just going to be completely honest off the top. For some reason, this is like striking me as Prince Harry and Prince Andrew's dynamic, where Prince Andrew, being the heir to the throne, or excuse me, Prince William? I think it's Prince William. Prince William and Prince Harry. Prince William is the heir, but then Prince Harry is feeling like he is the spare. They teased him that he was the spare. And he's found himself in a feeling of neglect. And that neglect has toxified him to a certain extent, and he's turned to diminishing his family name, which is exactly what this Page of Swords... Okay, but the problem here, I suppose, is that these represent... they're supposed to be representing kids. And those two are like both like over 30, like over 35 or something. So I guess I wouldn't be able to speculate to that extent. It's similar to that, though. Man, this is tough because a lot of these cards have flipped out. So, like, there's a clear sign here somehow, but I am just not figuring this out at all. I'm almost half tempted here to, like, not even upload this video. I have no clue what to say for this. Like, I'm suggesting there's, like, this weird dynamic going on here. Like, it's definitely weird how these people are in this dilemma with the Knight of Cups, Page of Pentacles embracing each other, but then the Page of Swords and the Page of Pentacles diminishing each other, the Queen of Wands and the Knight of Cups diminishing each other. But then this dynamic of the Knight of Cups and the Page of Pentacles embracing each other better. And it speaks to this, this division, this lack of clarity is spoken to with the Five of Swords, because when these people aren't seeing eye to eye, they are at risk of taking their own paths. And unfortunately, because it's the sword energy matching the reading, I'm suggested to the notion that you, as the Page of Swords here, if you're a young person, if you're not a young person, you might be, even though you're a Gemini, you might be feeling a different place here as one of these people. Off the top of the best I got is that the Gemini is the sword, therefore this sword energy matches them, and this Temperance Reversed matches them, which matches a lot of these cards to you personally, as this gossipy, like this toxically gossipy Page of Swords. Like a dishonest person, basically. Or like sort of a dishonest person who's willing to lie to like stir up drama, which isn't a great quality. And it's just like a sign that you're not tempering yourself, which means that you're not throwing out the bad and embracing your good. You're stuck. You're stuck in that toxic notion, and that is something that is very likely harming you. Maybe not physically, but it's harming your experience, and you aren't learning how to, or you're not managing to overcome that, and you're stuck in the same negative consequences of that. So it's like a sign of repeating these cycles, repeating the cycle of you're not growing within yourself. And as a young person, as this Page of Swords is implying that you are, you aren't going to be like learning your lesson well. Is what it's suggesting. And if you're like that, you're not seeing whatever you think you're righteous in doing, you're possibly mistaken. And by continuing down that path, you are not managing to overcome. You're not managing to move forward along a different path. You're paralyzed in this same negative pattern. I don't know if it's this Page of Pentacles, this other youth. This other youth, maybe you're jealous of them or envious of them because they're in their upright and they have this sort of whatever this relationship is with this Knight of Cups, this older man. Not an old guy, but like a man, a male, like a post-teen male, typically, which to a certain extent could be a young father figure. And perhaps what's got you feeling, you might be feeling very jealous of the relationship between that older male, that post-teen male, and this teen to preteen other youth. And this Queen of Wands may be disagreeing with how to handle this situation. So there may be this dilemma where the older people in this in this situation are at odds with each other about how to deal with you and about how to deal with your grievances against this other youth. And that's just a lot of disagreement. It's a lot of inability to see the proper path ahead, which can lead to some disillusion. And it's causing this inability to move on from something. And unfortunately, because of all the reversed air energy here, it's almost striking me as your toxicity. It's striking me as this, whatever this gossipy toxicity is like is the source of the rift. This card really wanted to come out. Dang. Excuse me. Like I said, I'm pretty tired, so my filter is a little down. Just more confirmation of the sorrow of this situation, but not for necessarily any of these three. These three, on an internal level, have their shit together, but they aren't on the same page about you. They aren't on the same page about dealing with you. And unfortunately, what's coming to mind here is it's like two parents who have brought two stepkids together, or two kids together into a step-kid relationship, and one of the kids feels like the other kid is favored, and that is causing you, in this instance, to feel like you are underappreciated, perhaps. Perhaps is making you feel like you are second rate to this other kid. And a lot of times what happens, but that's not exactly what's being suggested here. Because this page and this knight get along, it's almost as if the dad of the situation, the new step parent, so to speak, their kid is favored, or more specifically, their kid is like maybe getting favored over you. Like, their needs are met first before yours. The dynamic here is weird though, because the Knight of Cups, knights are typically younger. Oh wait, well I guess queens aren't older necessarily. They're mature enough to have kids, so it could be a younger relationship with a stable mother and a kind of brazen younger male, but they could be matched age. The male could still be older than this queen. And it's just really striking me as a relationship where the parents are having trouble dealing with the kids not getting along properly. So for some reason the dominant parent seems to be this male, and their kid is likely this Page of Pentacles. But the Page of Pentacles isn't in the reverse. So it's not like they are being toxic. It's not as if the Knight of Cups is being toxic. There's not a lot of toxic energy here. The toxic energy is all with you. So there's a shot that you are not actually... We also have all four energies: fire, water, earth, and air. So this whole bunch is like a very diverse range of energies between them. All the negativity seems to be coming back to you though. Even though it's stressing the parents a little bit, it seems like, and they don't know how to deal with this problem. and they're not seeing eye to eye, perhaps. It seems like you are possibly more of the source of your own problem than you realize. And that putting it on to others and not embracing your own personal responsibility over how you feel is like causing you to really miss the truth of the situation. And as long as that keeps happening, you're going to keep feeling like this, very disappointed. And you don't want to get stuck feeling like this. And you don't want to continue to make the other people around you have to feel these things. So that's kind of the best I can do for this reading. It's like it is quite a dilemma here for you, I suppose. It's interesting, this family dynamic. It might not be literally a family. It could just be a group of friends, perhaps. A group of peers in the workplace kind of thing. It doesn't have to be a family. I only suggest it's a family because the pages are here. So I'm not sure. You as a viewer, this would have to be something resonant for you. The balance of who all these people are. But the clearest sign I'm seeing here, excuse me again. The clearest sign I'm seeing here is that you're very possibly a young person who is insecure. And for some reason you're insecure about another young person who doesn't seem to be so insecure. And what's being suggested here is that there's something about you that needs to be better, because the Temperance card in reverse is suggesting that you aren't learning from your past mistakes, and it's suggesting that you are not learning how to be a better you. You are stuck in being a worse you. And that unfortunately is going to yield a lot of difficulty. Because you're not going to be able to see eye to eye with people, and your actions are going to turn them off, and they're going to want to turn away from you and do something else. And that can lead to not dealing with why. It can lead to not dealing with why people are, or why you are like meeting unsatisfactory results with yourself, which helps you feel sorrow. And these people who don't see eye to eye with you very likely see a better way to be, but for some reason you are blocked from seeing that, and part of that is because you are not refining your better quality. As long as you don't learn to refine your better quality and you keep doing like this petty gossip kind of stuff, this inauthentic lying kind of stuff, like, it's gonna keep filling you with sorrow. So yeah, I'm not sure what else to suggest here. One thing here coming out on the top. It's just, this is just more confirmation of the same. This is just more confirmation of the same. Blinded to the utter reality of your actions is going to get you stuck in life. So that's this and this and this. Meaning these three are implying the same thing. An inability to get over the actions and the behaviors that are holding you back, which is going to make you feel bad, and it's going to cause people to want to leave you behind because they can see that you're being ridiculous in a certain extent, and it's because you haven't embraced focusing on being good. You are not tossing out the bad and embracing the good. You're stuck in your bad. You're stuck in being bad. Or you're stuck in embracing your poor qualities. So I don't know who these other people are, but it's not reading like it's their fault. They all have their upright energy here. They are dignified, but you are proving ill-dignified. And maybe that's tough to hear, but maybe it's what you want to hear or need to hear. Maybe you hadn't considered that. Maybe there's something in you that you could change. But that's what this is suggesting, that you have got to change a part of you. If you don't, you're going to continue running into sorrow and travesty. All the negativity is on you on this reading. It's not on these people. So if this is your family or work associates or colleagues, this reading is not validating that you treating them like this is good. This reading is actually very disappointed that you would treat these people like this. And as long as you do, you're going to keep on running into severe problems. So, I think that's it. That's what I am going to leave this reading at. It's gone on to 47 minutes, 48 minutes, and it's very clear what's going on here. So I'm going to do as a conclusion real quick. There's a good shot that you are, for whatever reason, misinterpreting your dignification, which means that you are not righteous in your actions. Maybe you are petty gossiping. Maybe you are being conniving in terms of what kind of actions you're validated to take. Maybe you feel like you are neglected, and that inspires you to, or it like internally validates you as far as you're concerned to be petty like this to other people. But this entire reading is suggesting quite the opposite. That these people are dignified and you are ill-dignified. And because of that, it's suggesting that you could lose people along the way for not seeing things correctly. That you could fill yourself full of sorrow because you continue not embracing your better quality. It's implying that you aren't going to figure out why you are getting stuck in these places, and that you're going to keep continuing the same cycles, and you're going to continue suffering in the same ways. And the key to this whole thing is the fact that you aren't choosing to bring out your inner quality but instead you're choosing to bring out your inner travesty. You're choosing to bring out your inner negativity. The easiest way to say it is good and bad. The Temperance in the upright is you leaving your bad behind and embracing your good. It's the opposite when the Temperance is reversed. You're leaving behind your good to embrace your bad. And it doesn't necessarily mean good or evil. It just simply means good quality versus bad qualities. Which petty gossiping like this, conniving, lying behavior like this would be embracing your negative quality. And people aren't going to appreciate that. And they're not going to want to stick around with you for a long time. And that could cause you this severe sorrow. And if you're trapped, not understanding why that is going to stall your process. And you're going to keep getting stuck in the same ways. And you're going to be unable to move beyond this pattern, and you're not going to be able to stop suffering the consequences that are inevitable from being undignified like this. So it's very clear here now what's going on, and I don't know exactly where the pieces fit for who these people are specifically, but the behavior of this Page of Swords, which is pointing to you because of the fact that Gemini is an air sign, and this air sign is being backed up by these air signs, and all of these negative energies are resonating together. It's all resonating towards this very likely being you, and all the negativity being a part of your responsibility. And nowhere in here is it saying you're validated in acting like that. Because you're misinterpreting what this other person here, this other youth, is. You're possibly misinterpreting why they aren't as neglected by you, or aren't as neglected as you. And partly that's because you're incorrect that you're neglected more than them, or it's just the fact that you're neglected more than them because you're harder to get along with, and it's something that you're not understanding. So I don't know exactly what it is, but you're being asked to really consider your behaviors to other people. You're really being called to consider embracing the more optimistic and positive qualities that you can leverage, and not to continue to get stuck in petty connivance, which is a bad quality. And it yields to all this other stuff. So that's the best I've got for you. You're going to have to really look into yourself a little bit here and start doing better with your actions towards others if you really want to feel better. So that's what I've got for you, Gemini. If this is you, I'm sorry, but this might be one of the most important things you ever hear in your life if you're a young person. So I hope that you can embrace this, and I hope you can make the difference. So thank you for being here. Take care, and good luck.